we've been using lit circles in English for about the past 7 or 8 years, which is we buy high interest novels for each grade level and encourage kids to choose from the novels we've picked, and they pick ones that they want to read, and the idea is to encourage them to read more. But we always have the dilemma of, do we just let them read, or do we want some kind of output to show what they've learned from what they've read? And so we've played with different written forms of output, and this year we decided to try using iMovie to get them to create movie trailers to show what they've learned from their book. So Sarah tried it with The Outsiders and had the kids create iMovies, and my husband at another school had done it with his students, and so I was thinking, well, I'm a little nervous because I've never used the iPads before and I don't have one myself, and so the new technology always scares me a little bit. But Sarah had a prep block opposite my English 8 class, and so we talked and she showed me the ones that her class had done and they looked really neat. And so we decided that she would come in and help my class get started on it and then just make herself available to troubleshoot if we had any problems. So she came in the first day and I introduced the project to the class and then said Miss Garr was our expert on how to make things work. And so we went through and showed them some of the example trailers, and then the kids just went right to it. And I said, form some groups, try and have someone in your group who's got an iPad or who's used the technology before. And most of the groups had someone with that ability. There were a couple groups that didn't. And the kids were just completely engaged for 3 entire class periods. We're really excited about it. I got emails from parents saying this is the first project that they've talked about at home, and this is really neat that they're doing this. And so we spent 3 class days working on it, and they all managed to create a really good product on their books. And then I wanted to present it, but I hadn't booked the iPads for another day because I didn't realize how long it would take. And so then there was the dilemma of, okay, how do the kids get to see this? So I came to you and said, can we put it on YouTube so that I can just access it from my laptop? And so in about 20 minutes in the morning, you showed me how to get it onto my YouTube account, and we did it at the end of class, and it worked just absolutely beautifully, no problem. And it's definitely something I would do again because they were so highly engaged in what they were doing.
You did a contest for poetry that you were required to send raw footage of the people.
To YouTube, yeah. The kids did poetry and voice this year, so some kids memorized some poems, and they had to present. What they do is they pick 3 poems from a selected list, and they memorize them. And then our submissions to the finals all had to be done by video entry, which again was something completely new to me. And so we tried some different methods of video because of course the quality of the video would determine to some extent how well they did. So my students found me another student who was videoing a lot for the school and who knew what she was doing. So we did some practice shots with cameras and with the iPads to see what took the best video footage, and there were several takes. It was a lot more time consuming than I thought it would be, but we got some really good video footage, and then we had to upload it. And again, that was a little bit scary, although their website was really good for walking us through the steps and it was really user friendly. But again, it was sort of that unknown of, okay, how is this going to work? But we left ourselves lots of time, and Nicole, you helped me with it, and really it was not hard at all. Through that process, I learned another piece of technology because I didn't realize that the photocopiers could scan things. And so I learned how to scan things on the photocopiers, which has saved me countless hours because now things that I don't have on my computer, I can simply scan and then have the copy there and make alterations. So I actually learned 2 pieces of technology that day.
It is one of the questions they ask is, where will you go next? And we've been talking about some laptops that were in a classroom that we're taking out and replacing with towers. And English is getting these laptops. And your department has really been in a buzz about it, what they're going to do.
Well, we're excited about that. I know a lot of us do writing portfolios for students, and it's very paper intensive, and we end up carrying around stacks of marking. And so I know that a couple members of my department are thinking now that we're going to have access to these laptops on a regular basis that we're going to try and do some e-portfolios and try and get the kids looking at each other's work online. Now, I'm not familiar with the programs that they're going to use to do this, so I'm sure there's going to be some learning curve here, but get them looking at each other's work and commenting on each other's work so that there's more student evaluation going on before the teacher looks at it. Because I know for all of us, we tend to feel like we have to read everything they write. and we want to get students in the habit of reading each other's work and critiquing each other's work so that they can start to see where they themselves need to improve, instead of us, the teachers, assessing and reading absolutely everything, which as we get more and more students is becoming more and more difficult.
You tried the student-led conferences this year too.
Yes. I tried the student-led conferences. I wasn't as brave as some of the department members. I only did it with my grade 8s. And what I did was I made myself available to parents for the first session of student-led conferences for the grade 8 parents. And I had the kids leave their notebooks that day. And so I had their notebooks all set out where they sat in the classroom. And then I had a sheet of activities for each child to take their parents. If they wanted to come back and actually talk to me one-on-one, that they could come to the second session of parent-teacher interviews. And I actually only saw 2 parents. And it was interesting because it was the 2 parents whose children had very little in their notebook. But I would have said it was a phenomenal success. I'm not really sure how I would do it with 4 classes and having the work available for parents to see. So that would be a little trickier. But again, really positive experience, and all the parents, I gave them a place to offer feedback, and all of them really appreciated the chance to actually come into the classroom and see where their children spend their time.
Our group didn't concentrate on one item to work for the past 2 years. We had tried something different for Pro-D where everyone made individual goals. That's why we have so many people trying so many things. And the rule was, have one, try for a month. If you don't like it, let it go and move on. But what we didn't realize that people would have one liked it, work with it, and move on to something new as well. And it was a snowball effect.
Yeah.
I don't know everything that every teacher has done because everyone took their own initiative. Is there anything I missed?
Well, I know my first goal was to create a web page so that I could put homework up and so that I could use it for my gifted, talented students and put upcoming events on so that they'd have a place where they or their parents could go just to look to see what was happening. And so that was sort of my goal for the first year. The second year, Margot had experimented with live binders. And so she was putting stuff on so that it could be shared. And so we had her come and do a presentation on how to create a live binder, and we were talking about creating departmental live binders, and that didn't really work for us. And so people weren't taking the time to quickly clip their assignments into the binders. So that's something we'll probably revisit, because it would be nice. We have so many new people coming into our department each year who are here for one semester and then gone. And it would be really handy to be able to direct them to something where they could see, okay, these are the short stories that other people teach in grade 8. Or this is what kind of assessment people are doing at the ends of units. So my hope is that we'll continue to work with that a little bit more. And maybe not using live binders, because I know Margot said she was kind of unhappy with how that was working, but we need to maybe find another format for that. But that's definitely a direction our department is wanting to head in.
I recall you once saying to me, don't you dare take away my document
reader.
Oh
no, my document reader is used daily. I absolutely love my document reader. I use it for actually a lot of purposes that a lot of teachers don't. I don't just use it like an overhead, although I do that. I do a lot of showing student work under the document reader and actually writing on the student work so that the kid can have it back and everybody can see, okay, this is how we could have fixed this sentence. So for English, that works really well. But I also use it a lot to take pictures of stuff and upload them to my website so that students, when they're away, can see, okay, we've looked at this poem. These are the notes that were taken on the poem. And here it is now on the website, so that I wasn't there, but I still had that experience of seeing what was going on. I've actually also used it on one day where I forgot to go get an iPad to video students, and I've used it to video students, which is a little bit weird having this arm looking at you while you're speaking, but it's a camera, and it can be used like a camera, and so it works as a video as well. I haven't yet actually videoed myself explaining something. Like I'm doing Macbeth right now, and when the kids miss the explanation, they find it really hard the next day. And so I'm thinking about trying to use it just to record what I'm talking about as we're going through the play and downloading that to the website so that the kids, when they're absent, can see it. But we'll see. Hearing your own voice on a recording is a little bit yucky.
Yes, I know. Thanks for your time. The classes have started, but I greatly appreciate it.
No problem.